So in this screencast, I'm going to show you how to work with MATLAB tables. So MATLAB tables are useful if your data is in a tabular format, but you're using different data types within a table. Let's say some columns might contain numeric values and other columns might contain strings. In that case, you can no longer use MATLAB matrices. You could use MATLAB structures, but it's better to use MATLAB tables. And this is a relatively new data structure in MATLAB, and it's very, very useful to analyze data. So I'm going to show you how to retrieve individual elements from a table and how to change particular entries in a table, how to retrieve columns from a table, how to remove rows, how to organize tables, and how to convert to and from tables. So I would recommend that you take a close look at the MATLAB documentation for tables. Just type in table in the search help window to bring up the MATLAB documentation. This contains very useful information for you to better understand how tables work. So I'm going to build off the example from the previous screencast where we have a sample data file called sampledata1.txt. So if we run this script over here, we read the table into a MATLAB table T. And so again, this file can be found on the website by following one of the links. So we run this script, and now we should have in memory a table T. So the table T is of size 192 by 4. To show the first 10 rows of T, we can use matrix indexing. So this is the first 10 rows and all columns of T. And now MATLAB is showing you this subset of this table. Now to retrieve individual elements, you can use two ways to index. You can index like a matrix with a row index and a column index. For example, suppose we want this second row from the third column, so this particular value. We could get that by using this indexing. So 2, 3, and then you get this value 930. But a better way to index is by using indexing as we use for structures. So we can say, take the RT column, and now take the second value of that RT column. And now we have the answer now in numeric format. Similarly, we can take individual elements from a non-numeric column, let's say stim type, so those are a set of strings. So I can take, let's say, the second element of this column. And note that I used curly brackets here because I'm indexing actually into a cell array of strings. Now, how do I know what this table T contains and what the different columns are? I can use the summary command, so summary of T, and it produces a summary. It shows what the different variables are and what each column contains. So the first column contains a column vector of doubles. Similarly for the second and third column. And here we can see that stim type, that fourth column, actually is a cell array. So that contains that cell array of strings. Now, suppose I want to change individual elements of a table. So let's bring up the first, let's say the first 5 rows of the table T. And I want to change this value of 930 to a different value. So I can say, take the RT column, take that second value, and make that, let's say, 940. Suppose this is the new correct value. And I can bring up the table again and note that my old value has been replaced by 940. So I can make changes in the table just as you would expect by using indexing and then assigning a new value to the appropriate element of a table. We can also extract whole rows or whole columns of a table. So if we want this whole column of RTs and now extract it as a column vector, we can say something like RT, that's the name, let's say, of our new variable. Let's extract all of the RT column of the table T. So note now we have this new variable RT in memory, and that's of size 192 by 1. So sometimes it's useful to extract parts of a table to do some calculations sort of outside a table. Now, suppose I want to retrieve subsets of the table that meet certain conditions. Now, you can use logical indexing to retrieve appropriate subsets. So just clear the screen. So here's one way in which you can do this. So I take the table T, and now suppose I want to find only those rows with correct responses. So I can find from the column correct all values that equal 1. And remember, this gives a column vector of zeros and ones where this is true. And now I can use this as an index into the table T. And this is very similar to how you can do logical indexing with matrices. So now the result is this new table T2. And if we visualize, let's say, the first 10 rows of this table, now we can see all the values in this new table T2 have the value 1 for correct. You can also remove rows very easily. And this, again, is very similar to how you remove rows from matrices. So I can say for the first row of this matrix, let's delete that. Now, you can also organize the table and sort the table according to some column. And to do this, you can use the sort rows function in MATLAB. So let's take the table T, and now I'm sorting according to the RT column so that I'm organizing the whole table from the shortest times to the longest times. And let's see what this table T2 looks like. So I'm taking the first 10 rows of this column, and you can see that now the table is organized according to this RT column. And you can take any name of a variable that corresponds to these columns to sort the rows. Now finally, your data from a different project might not be organized in a table, but you can use various built-in MATLAB functions to convert from another data type to a MATLAB table. So you can convert numeric arrays to a table by using the array to table conversion, or you can convert cell arrays to tables by using this particular function. And you can also use tables and convert them to some other data type, like an array, cell, or struct. So you should look at the MATLAB documentation for these very useful conversion functions.